Hello and welcome to my channel. In last video we discussed about the part I on a game of evil thoughts. Today we will discuss on part 2 and try to find its origin more profoundly. We are evolved in such a way that we can deny seeing things and close our eyes. We can refuse to hear sounds, we can close our ears. We can completely control our minds by controlling our senses. The appearance of thoughts depends on the data of our surroundings, and when no data is fed to the mind, no new thoughts are formed. However, the mind already has millions of information about almost everything we come across daily. The thoughts from those data arise. There is plenty of information that our senses have collected, and we may not know them. Those beings may get the opportunity to get recognized by those beings, entities from a higher dimension, and the communication via biochemicals begins. There is no way that we can control them. However, we can be out of their control. When these thoughts happen, simply watching them but not reacting will make them disappear permanently. When we respond or overreact to them, the entities receive signals of us being happy or sad. If that information is what he needs, he does not care whether it is fatal for us or not, he will process it. Thus, we should act as if nothing has happened when some sorts of thoughts reoccur in our minds. On the other hand, it is not easy to determine who is sad and happy. The biochemical program is so complex that everything within us perplexes us. Observing and listening to ourselves so calmly is the easier way to know it. If there are any physical ailments and we feel uneasy, that is we who are sad. The entity is happy if we feel blissful and satisfied when we watch a movie or read a book or any information feeding to the mind. Should we starve the entity entirely by not feeding him with information? No, we should not do that because that is not good for us either. We are evolved and now can think separately. We need to control our senses to experience more. When a smaller number of experiences is fed to the mind, he will starve automatically. When we are more awake, we can deny the recommendations and direct orders from them. Surprisingly, they not only control us by connecting with us through our experiences but also monitor us via the laws of nature. Fortunately, we humans have developed a mental ability through an intellectual evolution that we can fool nature and those entities on some level. However, we cannot escape destiny but can make peace with the situation. The truth is clear that we live for a certain time, and when the game is over, it is over. Our science is working hard on a cloning project. This can probably help us protect true mankind. We need to evolve more and more to save the realists. Finding the truth from unreality or idealism is very difficult or nearly impossible. What is real and what is not is a mystery. The material things we encounter are perceived as virtual reality, and those realities that are not physical anymore might have been manipulated in our minds. We have authority over our physical body, including the brain, but have no control over the mind. When information is processed in the brain via various biochemicals, our different levels of mind start working upon them. The first level of mind is the conscious one, as discussed earlier, which safeguards the inner mind from us. Therefore, we do not get a chance to have direct contact with the upper levels of the mind, which are much more powerful and can see the other dimension where the information is processed and converted into thoughts and sent back to us through the same channel. If we had limited contact with our surroundings, the number of thoughts would not stroll around. Beyond the doubt, the human mind is an accumulation of information. Thoughts keep on racing, shaping, and destroying our perceived realities. Scientists believe a healthy mind is a platform of more than 60,000 running thoughts daily. We often open our senses and let the information around us get captured in our subconscious minds. After getting processed through different levels of the mind, they appear as thoughts, and we act upon them mostly. Our surrounding holds the secret on how our thoughts will be, auspicious or deleterious for our physical realities. When we were a child, we had a vast open space in our brain, our physical memory disk of ours. Thus, we were capable of memorizing things quickly. As we age, the brain keeps recording billions of information, some shaping our character, some distinguish us from others. This is how and why the environment plays a vital role in molding the nature of a child. By saying environment here, it means everything around you, the sources of information around you such as books, entertainment, computers, etc. The more positive information you feed into your brain, the more optimistic thought come across your mind. This is how we are the accumulation of data. Humans without desires are barely available, and desire is a seat of all thoughts. Desire first enslaves humans and then forces them to keep their senses active all the time. It ultimately controls our senses and starts feeding our minds with necessary and unnecessary information from our physical world. Since our senses and mind are not under our control anymore, there is no limit and restriction on the type of information fed into the mind. When too many thoughts are created and sent back to the conscious mind, they will find a way to get out through our neurons and body, It could be through our actions or word. When we consciously control our senses and force our mind to fast, not feeding any data from outside, the energy required to perform such functions, data assembling and feeding, is conserved and can be diverted towards brain activities. When a person is not even eating and talking, there will be less load on the brain to release several enzymes. Similarly, when a person is mute and not around any source of information, his mind will not get unnecessary information to process. The mind will swing around the thoughts that it already had before. We may desire to speak, but we choose to control our senses. Thoughts are like the electrons running inside the wire. They are running relentlessly inside our minds and trying to find an outlet to escape them. When we connect with entertainment, such as a phone or speaking to others, our thoughts flow out just like electrons flow out when connecting a light bulb or other electronic devices to the circuit. At least electrons are moving with a purpose. What about our thoughts? Do they have any directions or motives? When they flow out of our minds, our thoughts need to have ambitions. If not, they rule over us, and we become its victim. Neither should they run continuously in our minds. What happens when electrons run continuously on a conductor? Have you thought about it? Thank you for watching. Write down your comments. We will enlighten the world together. For more videos, subscribe to Quantum Awareness.